Hey guys, welcome back to RC Video Reviews for the Pilot Jam on Friday night. This is February 24th, and can you believe it? It feels to me like I just said it was the last video Pilot Jam of December, and here we go. Now it's the last Pilot Jam of February. Can you believe it? We are heading into the last month of the first quarter of 2023. It just blows me away, man. The time goes by so fast. I'm telling you. Maybe it's because it's good company. You guys are fun to hang out with on Friday nights. Maybe that's the deal. I also want to call out real quick. You notice the audio stuff has been so solid ever since I made the switch, right? It's been very cool. I've been very happy with it. I'm doing the audio checks like first thing when I start these sessions now. Audio looks good, so hopefully it looks good for you guys. We've got a lot to cover tonight, man. There's been some system updates. There's been some airplane things, airplane news. There's been some radio stuff. I got a sale we got to talk about. Man, we got a lot to cover today. But before we do, there was a little bit of a dispute, and it was related to who was in first. And the answer is, do I have a drum roll? I wonder if I have a drum roll. I don't know. I guess I don't have a drum roll. Darn it. I'm going to have to put one of those on there. No drum roll, but the person that was first was Andrew. So sorry, Hobie. He beat you, man. You guys came in. I mean, it was like 1-2, bang, bang, but he came in first, and then Hobie was a quick second and first on the like button. So thanks for that. Settles that argument. And then Stuart, or Andrew rather, was out flying his DJI Mini 2. Isn't that a fun little quad? It's like a camera. It's just a camera with propellers, man. I'm telling you, you'll have a lot of fun flying that. So easy to fly. I'm first on the like button. You can post the screenshots, man, but I've got the final disposition here, and it definitely shows me with Andrew in there first. So sorry, dude. A little too slow on the uptake, man. You must have been taking a sip or something when that happened, right? Okay, let's see. I'm going to get back down here. Jeff H is here. How you doing, Jeff? Live chat shows Stu first. I have to agree. That's the way it is. Drone Pilot's here. Elias, how you doing, man? Good to see you back. Back with your old nickname, Drone Pilot. That's cool. Freddie here says soup of the day is whiskey with H2O croutons. That's on the rocks, I take it. So he's watering down his hooch. HB Jeff says happy Friday all. How you doing, Jeff? Glad you can make it. Lonnie Misner is here. The Lonnie Misner. How you doing, Lonnie? Glad you can make it again. Gordon Goff, TGIF. I'm with you, brother. I'm glad it's Friday. It seemed like one of those weeks this week, man. It was just one of those weeks. Glad it's over. The David Knutson in the house. David, how you doing? Hit that like button on the way, and thanks. And you only did it once, unlike Freddie, who likes to hit it twice or 4 times. We got the Rain Man going over there. Terry Evans, ready to go. That's cool. Pterodactyl, button is hit. Good for you. Welcome, Patrick. David Lloyd says, I tried to put my S1 rotary switch to control volume, but there's no rotary selection on the global function on the new 2.8.1. I'll have to look, David. Maybe we'll get a radio out in Discord later and take a look at that. My volume pretty much still works on mine as far as I know. So you sure? I don't know. We'll have to take a look. I'm sure it's there. We're missing something. Midwest RC, hiya. Glad you can make it. How are you? Bill is here. William Tam is here. Man, that's a long list tonight. That's awesome. Kevin Maxwell Wilkin, last. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Laura Harth. How you doing, Laura? Glad you can make it. Good evening. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Mr. Skyrider. Yeah, it's a good crowd tonight. Four Eyes, FL Engineer. How you doing? All you guys from Ohio and Florida. And I think that's it. Someone got a new EDF. Yep. New EDF. You guys remember last week I had a session on the screen where I talked about the, a jet, and I said, come in Discord and tell me which one, which jet you're interested in. And I posted a few options. I posted some military stuff, F-22, F-15, F-14. And I also posted the Avanti, and boy, did they come in hard for the Avanti. Everybody was down for the Avanti. So I got the Avanti. We'll talk about it. We got some things to talk about there. Bill Cox is here. How you doing, Mr. Bill? Glad you can make it. Wowzy's here. Hello, Wowzy. How you doing, man? All right. So we're on a roll. We're doing good. Hey, let's see. I have to tell you guys, man, we got to do the week in review because we got to get that over with. I did a video on how to build experimental firmware for Express LRS. And the reason I did that is because 2 reasons. Number one of the developers put SBus in the code base. So he has his own pull, his own fork, right? So he took his fork and added Express LRS SBus to it. And hopefully he'll make what's called a pull request. And once that pull request is evaluated, then it'll get pulled into the mainline code and ready for the next main release of Express LRS. In the meanwhile, if you want to test it, you have to compile it yourself because they are not putting that out there. So I showed a video on how to build, I'm going to call it experimental firmware, because you really probably shouldn't fiddle around with this stuff until the developers look over the code and make sure that there's nothing bad going to happen, right? That the guy that did the modification didn't create, a memory leak or something like that, something that caused an unexpected reboot. So in Express LRS, they have a very mature process where they review these code modifications before they're pulled into the main branch. And that's what's going to happen next, assuming Paul goes ahead and makes a pull request. So a little bit of work to do there before it becomes mainline. But in the meanwhile, you can test it because that's the nature of open source. They publish their work and you can pull it down and compile it. So if you're of a mind to try these things out and do a little bit of testing, you can go pull that code down and compile it yourself, put it on a receiver and try things out. That's what I did. And that's how I figured out that it worked. And, I did some testing and so far I'm very pleased. I can't find a problem with it. It just works. So real strong fingers crossed that, we're going to see that pulled into the main line soon. So in the meanwhile, if you like to test, watch that video. It's really simple. It's really not it's not hard. It's real easy to do. It sounds scarier than it is. But if you can follow basic instructions, you'll be able to pull it off. So that was a big video. And then I did a wireless trainer hack. This was all a result of doing S-Bus on Express LRS. Once that was involved, one of the other developers from Edge came into Discord and he was talking about S-Bus trainer. And I said, man, I haven't looked into that at all. So S-Bus, and we're going to do some trainer stuff tonight too. But I looked into it a little bit and I decided, well, I'm going to take a Express LRS receiver, put it inside the radio and use that connection to the aux port, turn it on with the software switch. And now I can have an Express LRS wireless trainer mode. So I did that video. Very cool if you want to do Express LRS for a little trainer rig. One of the benefits of doing that, by the way, is if you're flying, say, for example, you're flying, say, D16, and you don't want to pair D16 with your student because you want a different protocol or maybe something that's got a different frequency hopping scheme. That might be one way to get you out of the frequency range of the thing that you're flying. Another consideration for that, by the way, if you wanted to do wireless trainer, would be to get a 900 megahertz Express LRS. Then you're completely outside the frequency range. You won't have to really worry about swamping. So just it's just experimental stuff, right? That's the point. It's just to show you possibilities. And you can take this information and go do what you want with it. I'm just showing you how things work, and then you might figure out something that you like to do and something that works for you so you can go out and try it. But I'm going to show you a spin on that's actually built into the radio tonight. You're going to like it. Next up was the new to radio control flying. I did that video, and that turned out to be a pretty popular. That one's getting some traction, man. That one's getting some hits. And that was really targeted at the rookies, right? The newbies out there. And with all this stuff going on with Express LRS and S-Bus and PWM and all the excitement going on around receivers and all of this stuff that's happening right now, I thought, it'd be a really good idea maybe to talk to people who are brand new in the hobby. And by the way, that's the video over there. So I thought it'd be a good idea to talk to people that are brand new in the hobby and give them, maybe a basic reference for some of the core components of the hobby. That was really what I was targeting, battery tech, charger tech, radio tech, some basic circuitry stuff. And it turned out to be popular. That one's actually getting a lot of traction. So I may do some more in that vein, like a beginner series. We'll see. Seems like there was some interest in that. And then I posted a couple shorts videos around ELRS S-Bus and the S-Bus trainer. And then, of course, the Pilot Jam. So good week, 5 videos. I count 2 shorts as one, kind of one video. And after the Pilot Jam, probably tomorrow, I don't think I'll do it tonight, but tomorrow I've got a little surprise video for you guys on a subject I've never covered before. So brand new topic. You might be interested in checking that out. So keep your eyes out on the channel for that. That should probably hit, probably not tonight, probably hit tomorrow. So yeah, good week. It was a busy week and a lot of, experimentation on the desk, a lot of tinkering on with the radios. Of course, the jet came in. So a lot of stuff happening. It was all good. All right, let's move on to material. The first thing I want to talk about is the Wi-Fi mesh. So if you have an Amazon credit card and Amazon Prime card and you need some Wi-Fi gear, they're having a deal, TP Link, 25% off if you pay with your Amazon card. After the issues I've been having, just, you know, I'm just want to throttle my computer for all the network nonsense that's been happening. I installed this new mesh network in my house, and boy, I'll tell you, tonight so far, it looks fantastic. I'm seeing green everywhere. I've got a great Wi-Fi connection. I've been testing it all week. Real pleased with that. I just wanted to let you guys know, you know, I see a problem, I go tackle it. So I saw a problem with the network, and I think the router, I don't know what it is with these freaking consumer routers, but it seems to me that every 2 or 3 years, you have to replace them. They just, it's like, I don't know, does their silicone go bad? Does their memory start getting, you know, slow? I don't know what the freaking deal is, but it's all my life, man. You know, I probably have gone through about 15 of these, and it seems like every 2 or 3 years, maybe every year and a half, 2.5 years, they start getting flaky. You got to reboot them. They drop your connections. The network speed gets slow. I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, I replaced the network in the house, and we are, you know, looking great right now. I can tell you that. It looks awesome. Looks to me like the video, you know, feed looks pretty solid, and I haven't heard any complaints. So hopefully the Wi-Fi mesh will improve things. I'm going to check comments before I move on to the next one, but I did want to let you guys know, based on the Pilot Jam, the Pilot Jam's been handing me my hat, kicking me like a rented freaking mule. So based on the Pilot Jam, I decided to get some new Wi-Fi gear in here, and it looks like it's a lot better. So, all right, let's see. Someone got a new EDF. Yep, covered that. Make sure you guys smash the like button on the way. And yes, definitely do that. And I want to give a shout out to all the patrons. I want to say thanks to you guys who helped me with the channel, who helped me support the channel. If you are of a like mind and you've got, you know, spare funds and you want to help out, you can go to patreon.com. I've got a $3 a month tier if you want to help. All of the money I make on the channel goes into the channel. It's what I use to get things like this, so I can bring videos to you and show you new things when I don't have a sponsor sending me stuff, right? So that's how I do it. If you want to help out, that's great. We are not self-sufficient yet. I do still have to dip into my wallet to bring content to the channel. So just throwing that out there. If you want to help, I'm happy to have it. And a big shout out to my patrons, especially the new ones that signed up this week. Thank you guys for hopping in. All right, let's see. Midwest RC, I've been eyeing one. Glad to see you get it first. Yeah, a lot of guys we're going to talk about the Avanti a little bit. I got a couple points. You know, obviously it's not built yet, but we'll talk about it a little bit. It'll probably be built tomorrow. This thing will go together in a snap. Drummond Stewart says, good evening, pilots. Well, good evening, Drummond. Glad you can make it. Bill says, where's Robert? Where's Robert? I saw that, Bill. I'm not on Robert yet. There it is down below. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's see. Evening. Hey, Dave. Okay. We're all the way down to where's Robert? Okay. Robert's around. He popped in one of the videos last night, but he just decided to take a little break from social media. He's doing family stuff. He's got a new, I don't want to say what he's got. He'll come back and he'll tell you, but let's just say his family grew. How about that? All good stuff, but he's still doing fine. He's around. He's just taking a little break. Let's see. I think Precious finally got to him. Yeah, maybe. Speaking of Precious, I should skip ahead. I want to skip ahead. Let me quick check these last comments. We're going to skip ahead. Andrew says, I run the Linksys mesh network and it's amazing. Yeah, I've been pretty happy with mine. I've got the one that I got uses the 6 gigahertz for backhaul. So the thing if you guys didn't know, I've been building global communication architectures professionally for my entire career. So that's what I did professionally for a very long time. So I know a little bit about network technology. And what I'll say is that when you get, usually when you used to get extenders, they would have your bandwidth because they would basically take your broadcast and rebroadcast it. So it was slower and the bandwidth was slower, just not great. But these new mesh networks, what they did in mine, and the one that I bought, it's got a 6 gigahertz backhaul that's dedicated just to backhaul. So the users can't connect to it. It's only for the mesh network to communicate. So we connect via 2.4 or 5.8, and then the backhaul network uses 6 gigahertz to transmit data. And I can tell you that it's fast. Like, I have zero tolerance for latency or poorly performing networks. It's fast. I see no latency, and my throughput speeds on speed test are real strong. So it's been a good experience so far. If you're in one of those scenarios, you've got a single Wi-Fi router and you're always complaining, you go in the kitchen, you drop your connection, check out those. I got the X, I think it's called an XE75 by TP-Link. It's a TP-Link Deco. They've got the 75 Pro and the 75. I just got the 75 because all the Pro really added was a faster LAN speed, and I didn't need anything above 3 gigs on the LAN. So TP-Link XE75, I think, is the one I got. It's on Amazon. If you guys are curious about it, let me know. I'll drop a link in the description after the video's over, after the pilot jam's over. All right, it's like the light bulb conspiracy. Yeah, how about that? That's another one, right, Elias? The main manufacturers got together, said, let's make them fail so we can sell them. I agree. I think light bulbs do the same thing. The first time I had my own house, and we moved into this house and I put light bulbs in. One light bulb's burned out. I looked at it and I looked at my wife. I'm like, what the hell's that? Why is the light not working? Like, what is this? What's this light bulb not turning on? It took me, I had to swallow a pill when I realized you had to actually replace those stupid things. Don't take it. Well, okay. But see, Gordon, last time when I turned on the radio, it was on 2.4 and I was connected to my 2.4 gig network because my stupid 5.8 was acting up like an asshat. So I had to connect to 2.4, which is what blew me up last time. I normally connect to 5.8. And when I do that, I can usually turn a radio on without a problem. So, you know, it had been so long since that happened. I forgot about that little caveat. So, the Decos are fantastic, says Elias. Yeah, they seem to get good reviews too. They seem to give really good reviews on Amazon. And so far, I'm pretty happy with it. My last router had a function where you could set a reboot. You could have it reboot at a certain time every single day. And this one, they don't have that. But so far, everything seems to be good. And we're like a week in. I haven't really touched them. So I'm pretty happy. One thing I don't like is they really kind of turned down the configurability. A lot of these routers, you can turn your DHCP server on or off. You can do all this different stuff. This one, they kind of turn that off. They have DHCP, but you can't turn it off, which kind of annoys me because I run DHCP on a Linux server and now I had to turn that off and run it on the router. So anyway, it's always something, right? It's always something. Scott Stevens, I'm curious about the TP-Link mesh network. I've had 2 Euros die in less than 2 years. All I can tell you, Scott, on mine is that I'm new to the mesh scene, and this is my first mesh setup. I looked at Google. I looked at the Google setup. I looked at the links of stuff. What got me on this one was the, first off, 25% off if you pay with the Amazon Prime card, and they use that dedicated 6 gigahertz backhaul, and you could turn it on and off for users. So if you want to turn it off for users, you can. If you want to use it strictly for backhaul, you can do that as well. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I got to tell you, man, all my testing so far, like I put a picture in Discord. I think my last desktop test, I was at 200 megabits up. When I installed the mesh network and made no other changes on this exact computer, I went to 500 megabits. So 250 to 500, 200, 220 to 500. It was legit. It was a legit improvement. So yeah, I'm real happy about it. Okay, let's see. Spin Launch Glide is here. How you doing? Spin Launch Glide. Spin Launch Glide. That sounds like DLG. Just interesting. Oh man, I have set up so many mesh networks and buildings you can't drill through, so mesh is the only way. Yeah, I'm happy with mesh so far. I'm so happy with it, I might buy a few more and just kind of sprinkle them around. I'll tell you another thing the mesh network did. It made the network in the garage work. How about that? So yeah, I'm really happy with it so far. Really happy with it so far. All right. All the guys that are here for RC stuff, they're like, their eyes are bleeding at this point. So we're going to have to move on, but I might skip ahead. No, I'm not doing wireless trainer. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to the Avanti. There it is. I want to do this one. The TBS TX16s. Guys, get your credit cards out. I'm not even kidding. TBS, and I'm going to reload the page just to see if it's current. What we're not 100% sure about is whether or not these are touchscreen, but one of the guys commented he believes none of the colored faceplate radios were SE editions or non-touch. So these were all like version 2, late model. So they should have touch, but check this out, man. $59. $59 at TBS. When I put this in my cart and I wanted to do shipping to my address, they ship from Hong Kong, and it's $17. So you're looking at like $77 all in for a TX16s, silver or gold. They had a black one, and that one is out of stock. $49 for the black one. Can you believe this? So if you want a backup radio, backup TX16s, I don't think there will ever be a better time. The one caveat I'm gonna say, because I just don't know, is I don't know 100% if those have touch or not. So I just have to caveat that because I don't want you coming back on, man, you dumbass, I bought that radio and I don't have touch. I don't know. I think, and there's nothing in the description that indicates whether or not they have touch. They don't say, which is kind of a bummer. I think they'd sell out a lot faster if they did. But all they do is they talk about it's an industrial grade 4.3-inch outdoor readable color screen. That's all they say. They don't say whether or not it's touch. I think it is. I think it is. It might be worth a punt for 59 bucks. And by the way, I don't think that's just a U.S. thing. If you're outside the U.S., you could probably benefit from this one too, because they're shipping from Hong Kong. So might want to check it out if you need a spare radio, man. That's a steal. That's like the bargain. You know who found that too? I got to give credit. Bender found it. Rob found that. He posted that in Discord. I did a big Discord announcement telling everybody about it. But man, that's hard to beat, man. That is just crazy hard to beat. Oh, I see what's happening. My little, my mouse, my back and forth button on my mouse were triggering scene changes. You believe that? That ain't right. What is wrong with this OBS? I'm gonna have to fix this thing. All right, Hobie took a punt. Yeah, it'd be worth it, man. 59 bucks for a TX16s. That is definitely a steal, man. No doubt about it. All right, I wanted to share that one with you. Get your credit cards out. Those aren't gonna last. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Those aren't gonna last. And if you're an OpenTX user, forget about it, man. You gotta get one of those if you're an OpenTX user, because you don't have touch anyway. So if you're still on OpenTX and you like your TX16s, man, you got to order one of those. That is a freaking steal. Definitely a good deal. I mean, hell, even if you don't need the radio, it'd be good to keep it for spare parts. You know, you could spend more than that just buying a replacement gimbal. You know, it's unbelievable. So anyway, I just wanted to share that one with you because that's going to be time sensitive, man. Those are going to go out of stock real fast. No doubt about that. Okay, now we can get on to something. You know, I've got everything out of order. I have wireless trainer up next, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to do the Avanti. We'll come back to wireless trainer. I just wanted to show you guys real quick on the Avanti. I ordered this from a new vendor. I've never used them before. It's GatorRC.com. Now, the reason I did that, let me give you a little backstory. I went to Sebart, US to look at their inventory, look at their planes, and they had a big page, you know, on their front page says, go to Gator RC if you want Sebart stuff. So it looks like Gator RC has taken over US retail distribution for Sebart. So I went there and looked, and then I looked under Sebart jets because one of the things I was looking at was maybe a balsa jet instead of a foam one. And under the Sebart jets, I saw this Avanti, and I thought, wait a minute, that's free wing. Why is there a free wing jet listed under the Sebart jets? And I wanted to show you guys. It's because the Avanti S is a design that's been approved by Sebastiano Silvestri. So Sebart evidently approved the design. Maybe they transfer the rights. I don't know the backstory. I just don't know. But what I am going to say is that while Freewing looks like they're the manufacturer and they're the ones putting this device or this aircraft out, it's Avanti S by Freewing. See, Freewing. Evidently, it's a Sebart design, and Sebastian approved the design. So anyway, Gator RC did a good job. They took care of me, and they had it basically $20 less than everybody else, and they free shipping and no tax. So if you're in the US and you're checking these out, go look. You can find them, and reasonable price for an 80 millimeter jet. And what I can tell you about the jet too is that when I was in Discord, pretty much everybody commented that knew anything about them. They're like, man, that thing flies amazing. You're gonna love it. So, yeah, it's kind of a cool little design. I'm not going to do a full first look tonight, but I thought I'd give you guys one little taste of it. Notice the split flaps underneath. So up top, there's no flap hinge. When I looked at it initially, I thought, wait a minute, I thought this thing had flaps, and I flipped it over. Split flaps on an EPO plane. That's pretty cool. The landing gear looks good. It's got a metal trunnion in there. So yeah, I mean, it looks like a decent model. I'm very anxious to get this one together and fly it. I do have to tell you guys, though, it won't be flown this weekend. Unfortunately, Freddie and Dave are both out of pocket, and my club has an event going on all weekend, so I can't fly. So I'll probably, the maiden will probably be next weekend, even though I could build it tonight. I could build this thing in 30 minutes. It'll go together pretty much like that. So anyway, Avanti S, that's next coming up. And FYI, just a little plug for the patrons to let you guys know, the patrons knew about this. They knew. The reason I do that is especially if there's a good deal or if there's low stock, right? The reason I do that is to let the patrons know first, because we do historically run vendors out of material. We run them, and I'm not trying to sound, I know that sounds braggy, but I'm not trying to sound braggy. All right. I promise you I'm not. I'm just telling you that it's a matter of fact. You know, a lot of times when I post stuff, especially if there's any kind of low inventory, we run them out of stock. So let's see. I'm going to show you another example of that too. Let's see. Here it is. I'm going to go back to the workspace and I'll show you. Here's another one. These, you guys know I'm a big fan of these A3 Super 4s. I found these at Motion for $30, which is cheap. So I ordered a couple, you know, just put in the inventory because for future models or whatever. And then I started telling people about it on Discord and wherever, and they're gone, man. They're out. They were literally out in like 2 days. So it happens, but this is one of the benefits for the patrons. Like, you know, I tell them what's coming. You know, I give them a look at what's coming. They saw a picture of the plane and where I think I told them where I got it. I'm pretty sure I told them. I usually do, but I told them about it, and they've known for a couple of days. So that's one of the little perks on patreon.com that you get. You get early access into what's going on, and I also spend a little time explaining my choices. So I don't necessarily do that on the public videos, mainly because public YouTube, they don't care. But the patrons do. You know, they're fans of the channel, so I explain it. You know, I talk them through my rationale and how I land on things, no pun intended. But anyway, just one of the little perks of Patreon. I thought I'd share that with you guys. All right, I'm going to check comments, and then we're going to push forward. Let me go back to the desktop real quick. And man, this stream looks good, man. After the last couple that've been abusing me with the network and the technical issues, this one has been looking pretty good. Audio looks good, video looks good, the queuing on the network looks good. I don't hear any complaints in the comments, so I'm really happy about this. All right, so Keith says, I already have one coming. Good for you. Way to take advantage, man. You could probably flip that in a couple weeks for $100. Jeff H says the TBS bargain would make a nice student radio paired with a TX16s Mark II. Yeah, absolutely. Make a good gift for a youngster getting into the hobby. I mean, those Mark I's are still awesome radios. Spin Launch Glide says, wow, this turned out to be an expensive stream, but great deal. Yeah, we do that. That happens. That happens. Get your wallets out. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. Jeff H says, you need to beef up support for the Avanti nose gear. Bracket available on... Oh, okay. Thanks for the tip, Jeff. I appreciate that. Or... like I like to bust people's chops and say land better. Just throwing that out there, man. I had a guy buy a plane for me one time, and he said it was the OMP Hobby Bighorn, and the Ryan STA. Same guy bought both planes, and he went and took off and landed, and he came back and he said, "Man, that airplane on landing bounces all over the place." I said, "Land better," because I know for a fact. I can land both of them without doing that. Although, if you go back and watch my OMP Bighorn video, you'll see it. That plane definitely likes to bounce. You have to grease that one in. That's a good one to learn to really take control of your landings and grease them in. But yeah, you guys saw I know what Jeff's doing. He's saying, yeah, we saw your X-Fly Alpha video, dude. You better beef up that landing gear. Anyway, I'll have you know, Jeff, and I do have witnesses. Hobie's on. The next week, I took the X-Fly Alpha when we had the RCVR flying, and I was greasing that X-Fly Alpha in, man. That X-Fly Alpha jet, I was greasing them in. They were really pretty. So I do have proof, and I have witnesses. Wolfie saw it. Dave saw it. Freddie saw it. Dave Parker, our Dave, you know, from the channel, he saw it. So I did. Let's see. You need to, okay, dang, I just ordered one for parts. Yeah, I know, right? Just as a parts radio, switches, knobs, whatever, man. It ain't bragging if it's true. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you, Dave. Thanks for, that's a good friend, man. He's like, yeah, it's all, speak the truth, brother. That's what David said. Hobie, great weather for flying this weekend. Unfortunately, my wife had already planned the weekend does not involve flying. Well, you know, after all that screwing around you did up at Lark's, coming up with the boy and doing all the flying all day and traveling and leaving her at home, I think you owe her, Hobie, so we don't get to complain, right? Last couple of streams were operator error. Yeah, I know, right? I wish they were, man, but I'm going to blame the network, and the network today looks fantastic. Hey, are you guys getting, are you getting 4K? That's another one, because in the past I've been slowing it down a little bit because of the network issues, and I know once you get below a certain bit rate on YouTube, that it's no longer 4K. So I'm curious to see if you guys are getting 4K on the stream. I really want to keep that. I really want to keep the Pilot Jam up at 4K. That'd be great. All right, let's see. You fly very well, John. Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. A lot of practice, a lot of misspent youth, right? Hours at the field flying, but I love it. I just love it. I've been flying. I was a licensed pilot at the age of 17 years old. Licensed. I spent my career in the military flying. Yeah, I just love it. I love aviation. I love the science. I love the feel of it. I don't know what it is. If there's any such thing as reincarnation, I come back. It should be as a bird, no doubt. The bracket is mainly to stop lateral wobbling. Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. I'll check that out. Video or it doesn't count. Well, FL engineer. Well, no video, so I guess it doesn't count. I do have witnesses, though. They saw it. Thomas Allen says, I've become a fan of Liperior batteries. Only 1 out of 30. Some fail. They're inexpensive and often specials. They're a little bigger and heavier. I agree, man. I agree. The Liperior batteries, I'm down for those. They're good. I like them. I'm a big fan of Liperiors for sure. All right, let's keep moving. Let's see. I skipped stuff, so I want to go back and make sure. Okay, wireless trainer. I have something fun to do with you guys tonight. This is new to me, and I was actually talking to Radio Master. Oh, that reminds me. I'm going to give you guys a little push for Discord. And I don't want you guys on Discord that are on Discord. Don't share it in the comments. Don't do it. But I want to tell you guys on Discord, there's a coupon code for KST servos. KST, one of our sponsors, very generously, I asked them, I'm like, hey, I've done some videos for you guys. What would you think about hooking my users or my viewers up with a coupon code? And they said, oh, okay, sure. We'll give you one. So they gave me a 5% off coupon code and it's in Discord. So if you want it, you got to join Discord to go get it. All right. And I don't want any of you guys on Discord sharing. They got to go in Discord if you want it. That's where it's at, man. You got to get involved in the community a little bit, right? So there is a coupon code, and that coupon code, check this out, is good until July, but it's one-time use only. So it's not like you can't go, so save up your money, go for a run on KST. You can buy whatever you want. The coupon applies to one cart purchase only. So it's good until July 31st. And by the way, KST ships from Hong Kong as well. So if you're in New Zealand or Australia, you probably get better shipping than I do. Just throwing it out there. It's available if you want it. And by the way, I am really happy with the KST servos. Forget about this. They're not even going to watch this video. This is not a sponsored video, but I'm thrilled with KST servos. They're just good. They're really good. I'm happy. I would recommend those to my friends. I would tell Fred or Dave, yeah, go get one. Hobie, go get one. They're good servos. All right, Freddie says commercial popped up during the jam. I don't know, man. What's up with that? I don't know. I don't know anything about commercials. I'm sitting here talking. I don't know what YouTube is doing with that. I'd like to come back as a spider monkey. Yeah, that's a great movie, isn't it? You better watch it, old man. I'll come at you like a spider monkey. That was a great movie. Let's see. 4K is working well. Awesome. Saw the short clip on wireless trainer. Very good. All right. Speaking of wireless trainer, that's a great segue. Let's get into it. I just wanted to show you guys this one. Now, hopefully I can get it to work, right? Because you know how live stuff can be with tech. It's just one of those deals. We'll put the throttle down, and I think I'm going to zoom. And can you guys? Yeah, look at that. I think we can see both of them right next to each other. I might have to. Let me see if I can zoom the camera out mechanically just a little bit here. Just a second. I want to make sure you guys can see the screens. And I know that's washed out. Just hang tight. We'll get it fixed. There we go. Okay, there's one. Let me bring this down a little bit. Fail safe not set. Fantastic. Okay. So here's what I want to do. Why is this so bright? Maybe I have to brighten this one a little bit to keep them even. Maybe, I don't know if that'll help or not. Does that help? What do you guys think? Can you read that? Can you read it? Hopefully you can read it. Okay. I wanted to show you guys another way to do wireless that's actually built into the radio. And what you're going to like about this is that your master, this one is going to be the master in this case. So TX16s will be the master. Now, before I go any further, I have to be clear that if you're going to use a radio for a trainer, a master, and you're going to do wireless, that means you need two transmitters. So you have the radio inside, the 4-in-1 module. That is that one we're going to configure as a receiver. Okay. So we're going to configure that as a receiver. But then we need to have a transmitter on the back that can transmit to our model. So one thing you can do is Express LRS or TBS or an XJT or a 4-in-1 or whatever you want. but you need to have 2 transmitters on the master, because one of your wireless links, one of your radio configurations is going to be from the master to the student, but then you need another radio link from the master to the model. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So let me show you what we're going to do here. What I'm going to do is go into this model setup. And now the screen gets low, right? Okay, we're going to go into model setup, and I'm going to scroll down, in theory, to internal RF. And I've got this one. I needed to get my pointer. Shut up. Don't judge me. All right. Don't judge me. I'm just saying. All right. I got my pointer. And boy, this screen is giving me fits tonight. So on the master radio, I'm going to set it. I'm going to use multi, and I'm going to use FlySky 2A, and I'm going to put it in RX mode. I do want to point out, what is up with this thing? You know what? This is killing me. I got to change the brightness. I don't know what the heck is going on here. Backlight. I'm just going to I'm going to set everything to be the same thing. This is wearing me out. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what the heck is going on here, but let's go back to this. All right. So you put it in multi. You see I've got multi, and then you can pick a protocol. When you pick these protocols, any of these protocols that have RX on the bottom, you see that RX right there? That puts the transmitter on this radio in receiver mode. Okay. So I'm going to show you, I said I was going to do FlySky. No, let's do DSM, because I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, wait, what? So I'm going to put this in DSM RX. You see that? DSM RX. And it says multi, and we have an option down here to bind. Okay. So this is DSM RX, and it's in multi. There's one other thing we have to do. I'll show you that in a minute, but I'm going to show you the radio setup first. Okay. So that's that one. Then on the student radio, pretend this is one of those there's a word. It's a native DSM. It's a radio that's way overpriced. They're like $8,500 for a black and white radio with 2 sticks. And the sticks are made of wood. I can't, what's it? It's from Kaizen Hobby. I don't know. I can't say it, man. I've tried. I can't say it. It's like splittering radios. I don't know. Whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. DSM, right? Okay. So check this out. Go into model. And then I'm just having a little fun. I hope you guys can tolerate it. We're going to do internal RF, and we're going to change this one. So now keep in mind, this is the student radio. All right. I'm treating this as student radio. This one is going to be the transmitter, just like a normal radio. We're going to transmit out this antenna. So this is the transmitter. Okay. So we'll go in here, and we're going to select DSM for one of those splinter radios. I don't know, whatever. You could just, any radio that runs that protocol, that Delta Sierra mic protocol, it'll work. So you compare. And then for RF protocol, I'm going to just put this one on auto, and then I'm going to come down here to bind. Okay. So bind. Now what I'm going to do, now I've got my transmitter. That's this one. And I've got my receiver that's blowing out my screen again for some reason, because it's stupid. Okay. So there we go. Now this one's the receiver. This one's the transmitter. We're going to hit bind on, I guess it doesn't matter. We'll hit bind here, and we'll hit bind here. Now, I'm hoping this works the way it's supposed to work, you know. Oh, hey, look at that. And the screen went bright again, too. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back out of the setup, and I'm going to turn on model, and I'm going to open my channel monitor, and I'm just going to move my sticks on the student radio. See that? And why this thing hates me. It's blowing out. Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me? Okay, so there we go. This thing is killing me. Anyway, there it is. So it's a wireless bind using the DSM protocol. This one's RX, this one's TX. Now, if I had this Express LRS module in the back of this radio, I could transmit from this transmitter to the plane, the model. Okay. Now I told you there were a couple other things you need to do. I'm going to show you the system settings for this real quick. You go system, wait, did I get that wrong? Is it model? Is it model settings? I don't use trainer that much, so I usually screw this up. It is trainer. There it is. Master multi. You see that? Master multi. And what that means is we're using the multi module as the receiver, okay, as the input for the student. Okay, so master multi, you have to do that. And then one other thing you have to do, you have to hit model, and then you have to create a switch. I use SA on this radio. You can use whatever switch you want. You just create a switch and you can do trainer sticks. And I want to show you a little thing about this too. So trainer sticks, you can use it. Okay, let's talk about this a minute. There's my trigger, it's SA, and that turns on trainer mode, and I have it set up for sticks right now, and it's enabled, okay? So that means when SA is down, it's in trainer mode, and this radio will receive the sticks. So let's look at what that means on the radio. If I back out of this and I hit model, my channel monitor is open, and let's say that I want to do something with channel, like, okay, on this radio, on channel 5, I've got this is Express LRS. This radio hates me tonight with the screen. So Express LRS, you see how that's broadcasting on channel 5? Now, if I do the same thing on this one, we'll watch this output, right? As I do the same thing on this one, it's not moving. This screen is killing me. I have got to fix this. I thought I fixed it a moment ago. Let's do this. I'm going to change that to max. There we go. Now it'll stop screwing around, and we'll leave it at that. Okay. So let's go back to the monitor. Okay, so on the monitor, because I have this set up for Express LRS, we have to broadcast on channel 5 our arming signal. Remember that? You guys know that. So if I bring this switch up, we're broadcasting that on channel 5, okay? On this one, because I have this set up for sticks only, when I move my channel 5, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything to this channel. You saw channel 3 moving because the throttle, it's unlocking the throttle. If I bring that down, it'll stop moving. Okay, so notice that's not doing anything. Now, if we go back into the model setting or the special function rather, we go back into the special function and we change that from sticks to channels. Let's just change it. We're gonna change it from sticks. We're going to change that to channels. Now what happens when we look at the monitor is that any channel that I'm routing on this radio, you see that, how that's moving right here? You see that? That's because it's taking every single channel. That's the difference between sticks and channels, but there's another one. Watch this. If I'm the student and I'm flying, you see how my outputs are moving here, right? So if I'm the student, I'm flying, let's say I do a full right on my aileron and the instructor says, no, I don't want to do that. Notice that the output, which is in blue, the output is blue. That doesn't change. The mixer changes in red, but the output stays. So the only way you can correct that is by turning trainer mode off. Now you can make the airplane go left, okay? Does that make sense? Now, that's important to understand because it's a big discrete difference between the sticks and the channels. Watch what happens when we go back into sticks. If we go back into sticks, we change this out of sticks. Now, all we're doing in sticks is we're allowing the student to control these 4. That's it. That's all they get to control, these 4. That's all. Okay, so we go back into sticks. We'll hit model. Now watch what happens when the student pushes the aileron all the way over to the right. You can see the movement right here, right? You see the output there? Now watch the output. The output's blue. What happens when I move my stick over to the left? You see how the output's now reduced? So in this mode, the student can fly the plane. They can do all they want. They can fly the plane. But in this mode, the instructor has the ability to say, ooh, wait, that's too far. Let's go over this way. But also notice, all they do is cancel each other out. And the reason for that is because the trainer is set up for add. It could be set up for replace, but it's set up for add. So let's go back and look at the trainer setup. If we click on system and then trainer, you see how that's set to add. Now, if I hit replace, what should happen for the aileron, I think, I haven't tested this, so I might be wrong about this. Let's bring the student does a full right-hand turn. The instructor says full left. There's no change at all. So I think this is a reference to the student replacing what the instructor is doing. So this is the source. This is the add. That's the way that works. Okay. So we'll go back into the system again. We'll change this back to add, and we change that back to add, and we go back and look at our monitor. What that means is that when the student does their thing, we can add ours to it. There we go. So we can counteract what the student does. So anyway, that's wireless trainer with DSM. It also works with FlySky, and it also works with FreeSky D16. However, when I did FreeSky, I got swamping on D16. So I used FreeSky and I got swamping all over the place. I did not get that with DSM or with FlySky. They both worked just fine. So no magic, man. There's no dongles, no wires. I'm not using the module that I put inside here. There's no trickery here. So that's all you need to do. You need the special function to turn the trainer mode on, And by the way, I've got logic on the channel to show you how to do a quick take back function as well. So if you want to run channels, or sorry, yeah, if you want to run channels instead of sticks, I have a video on how to do that. So you have to set your special function, and then you have to set your trainer mode in your model settings to master multi. That's it. And you got a wireless trainer mode built right into the radio. Okay. No dongles, no wires, no express LRS, no nothing. And what's cool about that is that this radio now can be the master for DSM, FlySky, FreeSky. So anybody that comes up to you with a DSM radio, FlySky or FreeSky, they can bind to your master and you can let them fly your stuff. Cool, right? Helicopters, airplanes, whatever, doesn't matter. And if you do sticks, then it makes it even easier because then you don't have to worry about channels. You do all the peripheral stuff and you just basically let them fly the plane, right? So if you do sticks, that's kind of a cool way to handle that. All right, I'm going to go back and check comments. We'll go back to the desktop. We'll check comments and then we'll move on. I thought you guys might like that one. Let's see. I got a link to this router commercial. Oh, really? You guys are getting commercials in the middle of the pilot jam, huh? That's weird. Three birthday parties for the kids. Oof. Hey man, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and one on Sunday for Hobie. Yeah, you guys are doing the kid birthday circuit. I've done that. I have 5 kids, man. I did birthdays for a long time. All right, no need. Yep, no need for WTO1, man. You saw it. I mean, that was it. Yeah, I can bring the monitor back up if you want to see it, but yeah, there's nothing here. It's just the radio. You don't need anything. You can connect, but remember, you need a second transmitter on your master. That's the thing you got to keep in mind. You do need a second transmitter on your master. Okay. So the wireless 4-in-1, the 4-in-1 here and the 4-in-1 here right now, they're paired. This one's a receiver. This one's a transmitter. They're paired. So if you want to talk to something else, you need another transmitter to do that. Okay. Twisting the knife, team fail safe. Boy, did this show get dirty. Oh, okay. How's that, Fred? I'm sure you'll explain it. Precious is missing Rob. No kidding. Robert got to it. I think Precious got to Robert. I think so, only if you have a 4-in-1, I think. I'm curious about this because I'm setting up wireless head tracking, trying to. Well, there you go. You just saw how it works. These go into RX mode and they act as a receiver, and that's what was happening. This one's a transmitter. This one was behaving as a receiver, right? So if you have it set to stick, student has no control over rates. No, they do, because remember, rates aren't broadcast, Hobie. Remember, when you do rates, we don't broadcast. So look, if I change my rates on this, here, I'll just move my stick. Let me zoom in. Let me show you. Let's do a zoom in. Remember, rates are not broadcasts. The rates are not subject to RF. They don't leave the radio. So if I do low rates on this radio, see, here's my low rates and high rates. When I change my rate, there's nothing broadcast, but you can see I've got high rates, right? Let's do the same thing. I'm going to leave the monitor right up there. Let's do the same thing on this one. I'm going to move my sticks. There we go. We have movement, right? You see the movement. And well, let's make sure we're on sticks too. I don't know how I left it. Let me make sure we're on sticks so there's no mistaking. Come on. We'll go here. We're on sticks right there. See, it says sticks. Okay. So we'll hit monitor. Now I'm going to move my sticks on my student radio. You see how everything's moving? Now watch what happens when I bring my rate switch down. Here's my rate switch right here. That's my rate switch. You see how the rates dropped? There's up, there's down. The reason that works is because the rates are controlled via input and your mixer. They have nothing to do with RF, right? The rates are simply, remember the way OpenTX and EdgeTX work. You have inputs, you define your range of movement on your inputs, and then on your inputs, we adjust our rate, right? We lower our rate. In this case, I have my rate going down to 35. What that means is when I hit this switch, SB0, the input tells the mixer, when I move this stick all the way, well, here, let's look at the model. If I'm looking at my mixer and I put my switch all the way up, see how I've got full movement, 100% left and right? You get it? Now I'm going to bring that switch down. What's happening is the mixer is telling, the inputs are telling the mixer, hey, this is a full travel right here, 35% and 35%. So that's not broadcast. Now what that means, the way that translates itself in this model is that when I move my stick over here, that mix only goes so far. That output only goes so far. if I bring my rates up on this, on the on the black radio, when I bring those rates up, you see how they jumped? Right, we're not broadcasting those over RF. That's all constrained on this radio, but the final output is broadcast over RF, but it's limited because it's limited in the translation between the input and the mixer. Hopefully that makes sense. So not necessary for high rates. What you don't do is you won't be broadcasting things like a throttle cut or arm for if you're using Express LRS and you have arming. That has to go from the master. Anything that you might like get flaps or gear, if you have flaps or gear set up, those won't translate. The only thing that will go out RF is this, right? That's it. That's the only thing that goes out RF. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So red radio is a student. No, red is the master. In this case, we set the master is set as the receiver. So let's talk through it one more time. This radio on the left is the student. This one's set in transmit mode. This one, and let's bring the model configuration up so you can see it. Okay. So model and the internal RF. Okay. So the radio on the left, can you guys see it? Or is it, yeah, you can see that, right? It's a little washed. It looks a little washed. There we go. So the radio on the left, this is the student radio, and it is set up to be a DSM transmitter, okay? That's DSM, and that's transmit. So this one is transmitting commands to the master. The master has to receive those commands from the student. That's why this one is set up as DSM RX, okay? And then for your model to, your radio to your model, you would turn your external RF on, and you would use, say, Crossfire, and then you'd plug this in, your module, and it would connect to the receiver in the plane. Okay? So transmitter, receiver, transmitter, and then receiver in the plane. Make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Let's see. Never mind. I see. Red radio is the instructor. Don't give the student those cherry AGO1. Yeah. I run channels, but with a switch. Yep. You can do that. You can do channels on a switch too. You can even do individual channels if you want. So you could go in, if you wanted to, you could create special functions that turn on individual axes of control. So if you look at the trainer setup, say for example, you just wanted to give your student pilot control over the elevator, you could do that. So when SA is down now, what'll happen is the student will not be able to do aileron. SA is down. They can't do rudder. They can't do throttle, but they can do elevator. You see that? So you can use individual switches. You could say aileron, elevator, throttle, rudder. Or if you have a 6 position, you could only do one at a time. You'd have to do, if you have a 6 position, you'll only do one at a time. So you'd have to do something like individual switches. That would be the way to do that one. I would do individual switches. So SA down, SB down, SC down, SD down. Make sense? Okay. So there you go. That's the game plan for using wireless trainer without any external device at all. You simply go from any 4-in-1 to any 4-in-1. The only thing you need to add is an external transmitter so you can connect to your model. Make sense? Cool. All right. Let's see. Gotcha. I'm late. Hey, hey from Oklahoma, says Alan. Welcome from Oklahoma, Alan. Hello from Florida. Stan Heaton says, can I use an external 4-in-1 on the master? Sure. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you could put a 4 in. You could do it the other way around. You could have the student radio, this one, bind to an external 4-in-1, and then have your internal ELRS talk to the model. It doesn't matter. Although, yeah, it's got to be a multi-module, because remember, the option in the radio setup is master multi. Just keep that part in mind, right? It's master multi. So if we go... this screen, if we go into our trainer setup on this one and we hit trainer, the option is master multi. So it does need to be a multi-protocol module. But it doesn't say it has to be an internal. So all you would have to do theoretically is go into your external RF and set this for multi. You set it for multi and it should pop up and work just as if the transmitter was inside the radio. Does that make sense? Robert, hard to believe that red one knows anything. Robert, man, Robert's been, well, thanks for hitting the tip jar. And I guess he gets to give Precious a punch in the nose and a $10 tip. So appreciate you, Robert. That's very nice of you. Are the master's rates still active when the student has control? Let's check that. Let's go back into, that's a good question. I'm going to say yes, because remember, rates are local. So I don't think it really matters. If you're using sticks mode, I don't think it matters. So we're talking about when there could be a conflict, and the only way you could have a conflict is in sticks mode, right? So we'll go into the trainer, we'll hit edit. We're going to change this back to, whoops, we're going to change this back to sticks, and we'll go into model. Now, here's the master moving, and here's the student moving. Let's do the student in high rates. So students in high rates, that's what I've got, students high, and let's do master and low. So I think what will happen in here is the master will only be able to adjust the student's movement just a little bit. So if the student goes hard right, oh, look at that. Look at that. Hey, how about that? The master's rates affect the student. That was a good call, Jeff, because it's not what I expected to have happen. So good call. They are impacted. So obviously it's going, the rates have to be going through the mixer. They have to be. So this has low rates. So yeah, if I bring the master rates up high, the rates go high for the student. So very good. But the student can also bring their rates down. Okay. That's actually a good question, man. That's a great question. I'm glad we did that. That's not what I expected. Very good question. All right. As long as you have an external module connected to your plane, got that. Well, looky here. Welcome around. Yo, Robert, man. Glad to see Robert around. Robert's always fun. Precious is giving John a hard time on your behalf tonight. Hey, Precious has been well behaved except for the screen. The screen's a little flashy screen. So the instructor radio is the one transmitting to the plane, correct, and the student is transmitting only to the instructor, which relays to the plane. Exactly right, Scott. You got it, man. That is exactly what's going on. You got it exactly right. Student radio is transmitting to the receiver configuration on the multi-protocol, and then the external module or whatever is transmitting to the model. You got it exactly right. Master has to use an external module to the craft. Or you could pair to if you had an external 4-in-1, you could pair to the external 4-in-1 and have the internal broadcast of the craft. That would also work. So if you have an Express LRS radio and an external 4-in-1, you could reverse it. You'd flip it. Okay. I kind of thought you guys might get a kick out of this one. Once I started messing around with it, I was actually talking to Radio Master online, and he said, yeah, you ought to try that out. He goes, yeah, the multi-protocol does, you don't need the reason I brought it up, here's why I discovered this. They just advertised a brand new 4-in-1 external module on Radio Master RC. So I went and looked at it. One of the buttons on there was a wireless trainer button. It wasn't a button. It said it supported wireless trainer. And I thought, wait, did they add something new? And it just so happened Radio Master pinged me about some other topic. And I said, hey, as you guys continue to work, make sure you add wireless trainer in the TX20 or 22 or 24 or whatever's going to be next. And he goes, well, it's already supported on the NPM. And I'm like, wait, what? Is that the RX modes? And he said, yep. And I'm like, oh, damn it. So I went and got the radio and I started playing around with it, and it was real easy. Very easy to figure out. It took me no time at all. So anyway, there you go. That's how that whole thing unfolded. Let's see. Yep, rates are additive. Same for Spectrum and piloting mode. There we go. Her looks have been her only problem. Well, that's because she lives a charmed life, Robert. She stays here on the desk, and she just helps me, with my practice and my configurations, and it's just she's so easy on the eyes. There's a kapow. Full frontal for Robert. Always got to have that full frontal for Robert. Okay, let's see. I think that's it on comments, so we can go back to the desktop, and I think we can move on. Wireless trainer, we covered it. So we did the new Wi-Fi mesh. We did wireless trainer. We did the Avanti. What's next? The TX16s, we talked about that, the TBS16s, and now Q&A. So I have some Q&A stuff. Let me pop those open here, and we'll take a look at the Q&A. So Q&A, if you're new to the Pilot Jam, what I do on the Q&A is I get questions. People ask questions. They want to know things. And when I see a question that warrants discussion, I like to talk about it. So we're going to bring up the Blackboard here. And there's the first question. So this one came in on the video that said, hey, are you new to radio control flying? Don't spend your money until you watch this one. And Duh 1100 says, for how long? I don't know how to, my answer to that is Sparrow. I just don't even know what to say. I don't know what the question is. So you guys, the trick is you got to find a way to, get to the point with your question. But this is, I appreciate brevity. I really do. But I really don't know what's being asked. So if you want me to respond, you got to ask me a question that I can understand. And one other reference I want to do too, just to help you guys out. If you're looking at a video and you have a question about something that went on in a video, it'd be really useful if you gave me a time index. So if you said, hey, at 3 minutes, I saw you say this, what does that mean? Then I could just click on the 3-minute mark and I can look at what I said and say, oh, okay, I know what he's referring to. So if you're referring to a video, it'd be helpful if you do that. So when you ask a question for how long, I like brevity. Brevity's good, but not that much. I don't know how to answer. So, all right, let's see. Other comments in here. Hey, it's more Canadians. Yeah, we got Canadians all over the place tonight, man. Enrique Ivanhower, can you have that external phone running with an internal phone? Oh, yeah, you absolutely can. Yep, they're independent. They'll run independent. You absolutely can. So, although I have to be honest with you, in the spirit, because I don't like to be one of those jerks at the field that tells everybody everything without having actual knowledge. So let me caveat one thing when I tell you that, Enrique. In the configuration, I've turned on multi on both external and internal. I've never flown with it. So I just want to give you the caveat, right? I don't have firsthand experience doing like binds with two, a multi external, a multi internal. I don't have that firsthand experience. So I can't stand it when people talk about stuff that they don't really know and they represent it as fact, the way I just did that. I said, well, sure you can, but I've never done it. So my caveat to you is, I know it can be turned on. I've got problems with graphics here. I know it can be turned on, but I've never used both of them simultaneously for an actual RF link, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. More ads. Freaking ads keep popping up, man. I don't know what to tell you about that. I'll have to, maybe I clicked on something wrong. I don't know. I'll have to take a look. Let's see. Kicking Mustang was an alternative to Sparrow. Kicking Mustang. Yeah, I like that, Robert. Kicking Mustang. That sounds good. Alternative to Sparrow. I also thought about saying blue. I don't know. All right, next question. This one comes from GansGut223. Optos for, so in this video, the new to radio control flying, I was talking about Opto ESCs, and I said, I don't know where the heck they got that one, Opto. And he came in and replied. He said, Opto is for opto isolation. It means the throttle signal is optically coupled to the smarts of the ESC instead of being directly electrically coupled. And so anyway, he gave that response. I just wanted to pop that up there because I didn't do the reading before I did the video on that one. And I'm sure I've read that about Opto, but I forgot. So he came in and clarified, normally an Opto ESC is where you have a photo transmitter on one side and a receptor on the other. And instead of having an electrical signal for your signal line on the ESC, it's optically connected. My follow-up question to that was, I wonder how many ESCs are actually using some kind of opto transmission method. And so far, what I'm getting are people shrugging their shoulders saying, well, I don't know. That's a good question. One guy replied, I have his comment. I think, yeah, it's here. This guy, ZZ Cat, he replied and he said, from all of the motor controllers I've dismantled, repaired, and got working over the years, a lot of RC motor controllers that carry the Opto name are nothing more than marketing tactics. So even though Opto, the origins that might be in doing an optically coupled signal line, it seems at this point that that's not really what an Opto ESC is anymore. So I'm throwing these two comments out there because on a video I didn't have an answer as to what the Opto, where that came from. I knew what they are, but I knew how an Opto ESC functioned in a practical sense. I just didn't know that they, at some point maybe use some optical, linkage for signal. So that I didn't know. All right, let's see. Kicking 62 watching, 39 likes. Yeah, thanks, Robert. If you guys could hit the like button, that'd be awesome. I really appreciate it when you guys hit the like button. That's awesome. It helps with videos. So thanks for doing that. Let's see. Is for that trainer scenario would be helpful. I believe the correct answer is 42. You're probably right. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question. Let's see. Next question. Now my graphics are giving me a hard time. What is the deal with this? Like, this is an unusual situation. All right, let me just make that a little bigger. I want you guys to be able to see it. All right. I don't know, man. Graphics are giving me a hard time tonight. All right, Darren Elliott says, thanks for the content. Would this work between a Jumper T16 Pro and a Radiomaster TX16s Mark II? Not technically the same radio, but same form factor and switches. So what he's referring to is, can you share model configurations between a Jumper and a TX16s? My answer to that is probably yes, because to his point, even though the actual physical layout of the two are a little bit different, so like the Jumper, they only use 3 buttons on the side, and I think the return button's over here. I don't think that matters, because all of the mechanical switches that are involved in a radio configuration, these are the same. They're the same. So I think they could. But the larger point in this one is that when it comes to looking at things that you can do on your radio, here's what I want to encourage you guys to do, because anytime I get asked questions like this that I don't know, just like Jeff asked a question about the rates. So, and I said, well, I think so, but I don't know. So what do? I turn the radio on and I start messing with it until I figure it out. So for this question from Darren, what I would encourage you guys to do, it's a real simple thing to get on your radio and back up your models directory and then experiment. If you back up your SD card, you can experiment. You can do any testing you want. So if you got a T16 and you want to see if it works on the TX16s, you could drag the entire folder structure over as long as you have a backup. The key thing about all this is that these radios don't have, it's not like Windows. Windows, they have all these hidden files and system files and registry files and lock files and all this crap. These radios are not like that. The SD card structure that's inside this radio is an open book. Everything is, read write. So if you take your SD card structure from your computer, plug your radio into your desktop, from the top, plug it into your desktop, open up your browser, copy your SD card onto your desktop, you can do whatever you want to it, because if you screw it up royally, all you got to do is delete what's on the radio, take your copy, put it back on the radio, you're back in business. Done. You're done. So the reason I brought this one up is because I get a lot of these types of questions that seem like, where's my blackboard? I get a lot of these types of questions that are kind of experimental, and you can ask me and I'll try and answer. I don't mind helping, but you don't necessarily have to wait for me to respond. What I would suggest to you is back up your stuff and then try it and see what happens. You don't have to wait for me to do it. The key is to have a backup. That's the key. Once you have a backup, you can act with impunity. You can do whatever you want to these radios because it's so easy to restore them. All right. So that's that. All right. Mark says, excellent video. Is there a way to make the throttle cut a global variable so you don't have to set the special function for every model? This kind of goes back to the other one, right? But the reason I put this one on the screen is because he is not the first person to ask me about using global variables for overrides. So here's what I want to do. When we do a standard setup for a throttle lock on these radios, standard, I don't want you guys coming in and going, well, what about the 2-stage, throttle dependent, multi-arming? You got to have your birth certificate of your firstborn son in order to arm your model, right? I know, you guys know who you are. So, but for a standard throttle lock, normally what we do is we do a override. We go in and do a special function and we do this, right? You guys have probably all seen this. Special function 1, SH down, override throttle equals -100. Okay. That's a standard throttle lock. Now here's the problem. The question he's asking is, hey, can I put that in my global functions? So let's go look at the global functions and we'll just pick number 7. We'll do SH. I'll do the same thing. SH down. And we'll look in here. What we're looking for in here is override, right? So if you look at the list, play sound, play track, Lewis script, BG music, BG2, Vario, haptic, SD logs, backlight, screenshot, racing mode, no touch, set main screen. There is no override in here. So what that means is no, you can't do a throttle cut in global functions. And the reason for that is because your throttle isn't always necessarily just one channel. Now, you might have a twin engine plane. What if you have a twin engine with twin motor with differential thrust? If you do that, you're running your motors on 2 different channels, right? So, it's unfortunate that the throttle lock setup couldn't be global. It's too bad, but I'm sure there was a good reason for it. And the answer to the question is there is no option for an override in global functions, which means you cannot put a global function in to conduct a throttle cut based on the traditional method that we use in EdgeTX, which is putting in a special function that does an override. Okay. So, oh, did I hit system again? I did. I was trying to get back to that special function. There we go. That's the traditional method right there. There are 100 other ways, so don't get in comments and go, but that's not the best way. I don't care. That's not the point. The point is that if you're going to do an override, it's not available in global functions, okay? A lot of different ways to do throttle cut, man. I've covered like 7 videos on how to do throttle cut, so I know there's a lot of different ways. Throttle cuts are one of those topics, man, that people get very passionate about that. They're like, well, the best way to do throttle cut is you hold this stick like that and that one down. You flip these 4 switches, you flip the radio over and bounce it on the table. That's how you unlock. It's amazing to me how passionate people are about throttle locks. It really is. People get crazy about that subject, man. I think I've done my last throttle lock video because people are nuts about that one. All right, let's see. I'm going to go back and check the questions and see if I'm missing anything. Then we're going to finish up the Q&A. Let's see. Switches are the same. Okay, let's see. Join us on Discord. Keep smashing like. Join us on Discord. Yeah, get on Discord, man. We got a great group of people on Discord. They can answer questions too. We have a lot of people who know what they're doing. A lot of people who know more about it than I do. So don't be afraid to get on Discord and join in and ask your questions. We have a very friendly and social group. Everyone's very kind and polite, and that's what we insist on our Discord. So jump in there, say hello. Link for Discord is in every single video I do. Okay, like if one's a 2 position on the radio, one's a 3 on the other, only issue you run into would be switch assignments. Okay, I missed the context for that. So Andrew, you know how to get me if you have a question. You can ask on Discord. Darren says new Radio Master T16s, TX16s. You guys don't be slackers when it comes to the acronyms, because there is a T16, and if you take a T16 firmware and put it on TX16s radio, it won't work right. It'll work, but not right. So it's a TX16s. My 2 shows up this week. I'll back up and give it a go when it shows up. Very good. Do that. Back up that SD card. Like the minute you pull the radio out of the box, connect it, plug it into your computer, take a copy of that SD card, and then from there you can do whatever you want to it, because it's so easy to restore. All right, let's see. Jeff, some ESC manufacturers assign opto to mean no back. Yeah, I know. Cheeky. And it's, legacy, right? I think, it's something that people understand. They don't want to make up a no back ESC. That doesn't sound good. So opto, that sounds fancy. They probably just don't want to confuse people, I guess. My guess. John's great videos for beginners. Well, I appreciate that. Hobie's helping out the new guys. Robert, then that makes it easy. Okay, yeah, I've been watching them in prep for the new radio. Very good. There's also a screenshot of me being first and John confirmed. Yeah. Andrew was first. We're done with that one. Let's see. Save a copy of your SD card before you do anything. Absolutely. Just save a copy. Just put it on your computer, save a copy, and then you can act with impunity. You can. I even have a video showing how to recover a bricked radio. I showed during the firmware flash. I pulled the plug out. You really shouldn't do that. But I showed how to recover from even making that mistake. So that's like the worst case scenario for these things. So if you brick your radio, I've showed you how to recover that. You can put your contents. I've even showed how to take an SD card from scratch and build up the contents. So it's just easy to do, but you'll save yourself a lot of grief if you just back up your SD card. Just do it. And then you can always restore. Always restore. All right. Need more fun people in Discord like Hobie. I agree. Pterodactyl says, is Mark II the only one that can add switches to the back of the radio? It's the only one that has the jumper ports on the motherboard to add to do the ready-made switches, but there are extra pins on the motherboard for the Mark I that will allow you to connect a wire and add a switch. So you can actually add them, but it's not like ready-made. It's not prepared for that. All right, we're going to go back to the blackboard. I think we're almost done with the questions. So we were talking about throttle cut and global variable. The answer is no. There's no override function in global variables. All right. Helis, Planes, Drones, and Things says, I went through the Discord. There's a lot. Hey, how about this? This is perfect segue. I went through the Discord. There is a lot of useful information from a lot of people, and it is an amazing place. I was truly impressed at the community there. I've downloaded the PC app. There you go. That's an unsolicited testimony from a newer person 2 days ago who said, hey, I just went through Discord and wow, what a cool place. I agree. Very helpful people out there in Discord. Get out there and say hello. Let's see. This one is all trail cams, flying photos RC. says, great video review. The Value Hobby profile planes. Oh yeah, this one. Look to be a good value for the money price-wise. Are they good value for the money with the way they fly? Are there any other 3D profile planes on a budget that you would recommend taking a look at? Thanks. So the 3D profile planes on Value Hobby, they are cheap and they do go together and they fly okay. The one that I had in this video was the Red Eagle Hummer, and it was okay. It wasn't, the thing about that particular profile plane, that's not like flying an extreme flight or a Skywing. It's not the same experience, right? The extreme flight and the Skywing, they're on rails. They're very, very precise. And they don't have bad tendencies. Like they don't do coupling. When you put it in knife edge, they don't pull to the canopy, or if they do, you can work it out with balance. So the profile plane, probably something I could have worked on a little bit. I actually ended up giving that, I think, to Fred. But you can do stuff with these profile planes that you wouldn't want to do with the balsa planes. So given the fact that they're only $40, I'd say, yeah, they're a good value for the money. You get them, you fly them. You don't really care what you do. You're just trying to learn muscle memory and stick movements. They're great for that. And because if you crash and screw it up, you just walk over, pick it up and throw it. You know, it's ready to go again. You might have to change a prop, but you know, it's a good deal. Now, if you want to get into something a little bit higher end, I'll also encourage you to get on Discord and talk with Oliver. Oliver he's a regular fixture on our Discord, and he is now with Twisted Hobbies. So, and he just got through posting some material in our Discord about a Twisted Hobbies plane that he just built. So Twisted Hobbies, they make some very nice kits. They have some airfoil style profile planes that are really nice, but they are a little more expensive. So at Twisted Hobbies, you can kind of get up there in the budget a little bit. In fact, I think they've got like a 40-inch airfoil series that I think is like $170. I mean, it's not cheap for a foamy, but they do have some, more, profile oriented foamies as well. So check out Twisted Hobbies, get in Discord, ask Oliver questions, and he's got a direct connection back to the owner, so he can probably help you get information if you need it. So that was a good question. I thought, I'd say, yeah, these basic generic profile planes are fine to learn muscle memory, but don't expect to do the best knife edge you've ever seen. You're not going to do it. It's going to be harder to do it with these types of planes. All right. And then we're back to question number 1. So we've gotten top to bottom on the Q&A section. So I'm happy that we did that. I'm going to check comments again, and then I think we're close to wrapping it up. So let's see. I know I'm giving you, okay. Everyone's giving everyone a hard time. Throttle lock should be unique. 32 digit passcode. Yeah. With an eye scan, right. And a thumbprint. Yeah. And your wife has to say, all right, I'll allow it. Right? Oh, man. Okay, pterodactyls marked out. Okay, we covered that. Opto means opto out BEC. Yeah, I think you're right. No BEC. You can add switches to any radio. You just have to make the hole yourself. Yeah, and you have to have like the electronic signal interface for it too. Just keep that in mind. Let's see. Oliver is a true talent and menace at the same time. Man, that kid, he's got some skills. It's fun to watch him fly. I've never seen anybody torture test an aircraft the way Oliver does. If there's a fault or, a way to punch a hole in an airplane, Oliver will find it. Speak of the devil, I popped on at the right time. They make up to 48-inch planes, with their smallest one being 20. Any questions, feel free to message me. Yeah, get on Discord. And don't do a direct message. Get in the Fixed Wing channel and ask in public, because other people probably might have the same questions. So doesn't have to be top secret, man. Get out there and ask. Get engaged. Let's see. Robert's taking off. Good night, Robert. Thanks for popping in, my friend. Good to see you back as always. Jeff says, remember when you liked the lack of protected cover for the top USB port on the Boxer? Yeah. Well, then I removed it from my TX16s. Best quick mod I've ever made. Yeah, that is a good one, man. I need to do that. Isn't that little thing annoying? It's just it's always in the way. It's always in the way with your cables. Yeah. I think I might pop mine off. That's a good idea. Later, Robert. Thanks for jumping in, Robert. That's hilarious, John. Yeah. Get in there. Am I lying though? Oliver, man, I'd never say anything negative about you. Am I lying? I mean, come on. You torture test stuff, man. If there's a fault, you'll find it. Like, you are the man to find a problem with a servo. That's for dang sure. Like his big biplane. Yeah, the Mamba, that just went in, right? If there's a fault, Oliver will find it. But that's only because he pushes so hard. He does. He pushes hard. All right, let's see. That's it for Q&A. We have coming up. Okay, coming up. Let's do, regarding coming up. First thing coming up is the Avanti. That will get built tonight or tomorrow, probably tomorrow. And I'll get it flown next weekend. So Dave and I should be able to go flying next weekend. The club is closed down for general flying this weekend, so no flying this weekend. Avanti Maiden will have to wait. Another thing that's coming up is I got myself on a pre-order list for an upcoming plane from Skywing, so hang tight for that. I'm hoping that arrives soon and they can get that shipped, but in the meanwhile, we'll deal with the Avanti. Expect to have a lot of fun with that in terms of new airframe material. Regarding technology, I have a special little thing that I'm working on, and I was actually talking to one of the developers about the best way to go about doing it, and I have my answer. So I have some hardware coming for the radio tomorrow, and it's going to be a simple little upgrade, and I'm going to do some testing with it, and if I like what I see, I will share my findings with you guys in the form of a video. And believe me, it's one of those things that corrects one of the biggest gripes about these radios. So hang tight. I'm going to work on it. If it works out the way I think it will, I'll share my findings with you. And it's probably one of those upgrades a lot of you will probably undertake. Let's see, special video, ARF Skywing. Yeah, it's a plug and play Skywing, actually. That's what I'm hoping to get soon. And then, okay, so I talked a little bit about the plug and play that we're working on, waiting for. I talked about the Avanti. I talked about the hardware upgrade I'm doing here. And I'm going to continue to keep an eye out on Express LRS S-Bus to see what's going on there. And one other thing that I got a link and I saw it on GitHub. There's a very interesting evolution going on regarding standardization of telemetry, and everybody, it's like a who's who of people in the business providing software for radio communications, including Express LRS, including TBS, including Betaflight, Bluebird, and a handful of other people who are involved in software development for radio control. They're all starting to collaborate on this concept of what I believe, in simple terms, is standardization around telemetry. So it's a very exciting thread to watch. I'll be paying attention to that, and as things unfold there, if there's news, I'll make sure I bring that and let you guys know what I'm seeing there. But it's a very fascinating conversation because literally it's all the big names that we're seeing as prominent players in the RF space right now. So I'm very encouraged with what I'm seeing going on there because it's collaboration, and it looks like they're using GitHub, which is an open source type community. So I'm looking forward to big things there. We'll see more about it there. So that's it for what's coming up. And I'm going to check comments one more time, and we're going to wrap this video up. So Oliver says, you're not wrong. I guess it's funny though. Yeah. Well, dude, we've watched, man. It's all out there. You got all the evidence, all the pictures. You know, you put we'll just say that you put your planes through their paces. That's the best way to say it. You definitely push the envelope. No question. He did do a build. He did post some 4Eyes. He did post some pictures. What build? Are you talking about me or Oliver? If you're talking about me on the jet, I don't think so. It's just plugging in. It's kind of boring. It's just plugging in and adding a receiver. There's really nothing to it. Okay, that's it. That's all I see. So I hope you guys had a good time on the Pilot Jam tonight. This is the last one for February. Can you believe it? Next one, we're in freaking March already, man. It's like officially coming into spring. And I know our Aussies and New Zealanders are going into winter, so they're like, this sucks. But yeah, here we go. Already coming into March, man. It's unbelievable. Years go by. The older we get, the faster they go. Well, I hope you enjoyed the content for tonight. If you did, subscribe, like, hit the bell. Remember, only about 30% of the people who watch millions of views that I have subscribe. 70% don't subscribe. So if you're one of those viewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, notification bell, so you know when new stuff hits the channels. Thanks to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for digging into your wallets and helping me out. Hope you guys had a great time tonight. I'll catch you later. And get out there and fly something.